What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Inside the Horseshoe. I'm your host, Matt Beer, and today we're going to be recapping week 3, some of our surprises, all that good stuff. We'll be talking about the COVID outbreak that happened with Tennessee during the Tennessee and Minnesota game, and then we'll give our predictions for week 4 and discuss any other news that comes up. So I'm going to introduce a man who had a really good week this week with predictions. Unfortunately, not with his team. It is Kevin Poss. How you doing, Kevin? Oh, I removed you. There we go.
That's all right. I appreciate you having me on. I did have a good week with my picks, so I'm happy about that. It's about time I had a good week. But yes, definitely still sad about the Atlanta situation. But go Braves! They are in the playoffs, number 2 seed, so going to the World Series.
Absolutely. There you go. You are playing a tough Reds team, though, so
that is true.
But I mean, they looked good. Was it 13 innings it took to win? So, yeah, that great game. Unfortunately, the Cubs did not have a great game. Next, we're going to introduce Steve. You're back on the show, Steve. How you doing?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm doing pretty good, Excited last week. Both my teams won. The Lions and the Browns pulled them out. Lions finally got their first win, so maybe this will, make them keep it going. So we'll see about this week.
Yeah, I might have an underdog prediction for one of those teams this week. So I'm going to put us on this. Bam, there we go. So before we get into recapping week 3 and everything, I do want to go over just the predictions and everything, talk about who had the best weeks, who had the worst week, all that good stuff. And here's the list. Bam, look at that. It's a list right there. So because of last week being 10-5, me and Maddie are now tied at 33-14-1 because of that stupid tie. I ended up having a record of 10-5-1. Maddie is second. He had a record of 9-6-1, which puts him 33-14-1. Third is Alec, who was 7-8-1, who stays at third by a game as he is 28-19-1 overall. Kevin is fourth with a record of 11-4-1 last week, tied for the best overall week as far as predictions go. He is now 27-20-1. Jacob falls to fifth. He had a 6-9-1 record this past week with the predictions at 26-21-1. Steve also had a fantastic week, tied with Kevin with 11-4-1. That put him at 21-10-1, which ties him with Bruce, who is tied for last. But although, we had to put an asterisk out there, they didn't get to put their predictions in for week 1. So very impressive, both with 21-10-1 this week. So real quick, before we get into the COVID and predictions for week 4, what were some of the surprises this week for you guys? And
the Lions.
Hey, Alec.
Lions pulled out W. That's what it surprised me. I was like, I have the Lions winning, but that's just going on. Just they're my team, so I'm like, I don't know. The Cardinals was playing terrific, but they played pretty good defense wise. Stafford, Galladay coming back, getting some touchdowns, so I was pretty excited about that.
It's like, coming into this game, there were people saying Kyler Murray could be up for MVP this year just with how good he's been looking, but the Lions shut him down, and I think that's what really surprised me. And now that gives other teams a blueprint of, okay, we got to follow this type of game plan. We got to basically take out Kyler Murray, and if we do, we can potentially win that game. It ended up being a great game. What were your overall thoughts on that, Kevin?
I kind of missed what you were saying. Sorry, I was looking at what Alec was saying about not passing him up. But yeah, the as far as you're talking about MVP guys, and that's one thing I was about to bring up is Russell Wilson. Like, he's on a crazy tear this year. So I agree with you about Murray. I've been a Cardinals believer since day one. But the numbers that Wilson's putting up, 139 passer rating, 11.3 yards per attempt, 76.7% of his passes, 14 touchdowns to 1 interception. Thanks to Greg Olsen. So yeah, those are crazy numbers. That's all I was about to bring up. But MVP talk.
Yeah, because Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers are my two front runners right now. Out of them, I'm giving it to Russell Wilson for sure. Just with what he's able to do on the Seahawks, it's great, and it's crazy he hasn't received the first place vote for MVP throughout his entire career. He should have been in the running for sure, but I mean, yeah, he's definitely up there. Aaron Rodgers, and then Josh Allen jumped ahead of Kyler Murray for me. He's got to be up there, especially after being able to beat the Rams with that defense. And then obviously, I mean, it helps that Buffalo has a great defense too.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think Josh Allen has like cemented himself as a middle to top tier quarterback in the NFL. Now he's not so questionable on week to week picks, which is always a good thing for us. But
definitely, because I mean, I've loved what I've seen from him. I've always been big for him, and you're definitely right about that, Alec. I do agree. Like I'm saying right now, I think there's a chance the Seahawks can make a run for a Super Bowl. I think them and the Packers are the two best teams in the NFC, and then even though they lost, I would still put Arizona in third or fourth. I think they're going to probably be the best wild card team coming into the playoffs because I can't see the Seahawks not getting first, especially after those injuries for the 49ers. But no, I'm trying to think if there's any other big upsets that happen. I guess
the Ravens, with Lamar Jackson only throwing not even 100 yards.
That was
pretty shocking to me.
Yeah. Because I thought he was at least going to get like 150, 200 yards passing. I mean, he was going to run a lot. I knew that because that's what makes him, just the way he can.
Well, even his running didn't do that good. He only ran for 70 yards? So,
I think so, yeah. But I mean,
they just had a rough go against the Chiefs, man. Because Mahomes was just picking that defense apart on Monday. So,
and I think that's got to make Pittsburgh very happy too to see that Lamar is not, invincible. He's not, this just super being. He is human. You can take him down.
This will show a lot, though, about his mettle, whether he can bounce back and have a really good game against a really bad team. It's not something that he should easily be able to handle. So it'd be interesting to see.
Like, I think he's going to bounce back this week for sure because he's gone up against Washington. But when you start playing some of the more difficult teams, like I was saying before the season started, that, defensive coordinators are the best at their job. They're going to be able to figure out every little thing. They'll find any weakness you have and use it against you. So that's where Lamar's got to, he's got to prove to people that, look, it's not just a one and done type of situation. I'm not going to have like a sophomore slump, even though, this is third year. He's got to be like, look, I can dominate too. So when you go up against, some of the better defenses out there, maybe Indy, because, they're having a great year, Pittsburgh, Buffalo, they're going to figure out a game plan. So he's got to try to figure out how to get around that. I still think he's going to have a good year, but I mean, we'll see what happens with him. I mean, this is definitely not a game where I'm like, oh, he's definitely done. This just kind of shows, he can be stopped. So there's that. But no, I want to talk about another game that was almost an upset, and that was Tennessee and Minnesota. Minnesota almost coming in and winning. Because I thought Tennessee was just going to crush them, have a similar game to what Indy had against them. But I mean, maybe that Indy defense is better than what we're thinking because, Green Bay allowed 34 points on them when they played against the Vikings, and then, they scored 30 on Tennessee. So, I mean, this is a team I honestly have no idea what's going to happen with them. But, I think he's going to have some trouble for sure, but he's got to prove that he can do it in the regular season and playoffs too, because I mean, I would assume the Ravens are going to make the playoffs. So we'll definitely see there. But yeah, I mean, do you guys think Minnesota, I guess against Indy, maybe just had a bad week, or do you think maybe they're that team that can score but aren't going to get the job done at the end?
I think that Kirk Cousins is missing Stephon Diggs a lot.
Yeah.
It seems like you don't really have no weapons no more. I mean, Jefferson did really good. I think he's going to get more involved in the offense.
Oh, yeah, because he had 175 receiving yards.
Yeah. He had like 80 on one play. So,
yeah, which is insane. And then he's got Adam Thielen, too, and Kyle Rudolph isn't, no
So
slouch.
I think they're still trying to, like, get the other, offensive weapons. You got Dalvin Cook and stuff, Thielen. I think Jefferson's going to be the new guy. So I'm thinking they're just now feeling what they're going to be doing. So
that is true. It's just the defense stinks there.
Yeah, it's terrible. And then you bring in this the COVID scare, not to segue into that or anything, but you bring that into the day-to-day operations, and it's only I feel like that's only gonna cause it to go downhill from there. So really not looking good for Minnesota right now.
Absolutely. And then I guess we can get to the COVID situation real quick. So let's go ahead. Let's talk about COVID right now, guys, as we transition into there. Had to show that, even though it's not the thumbnail. So with Tennessee, obviously, playing Minnesota, it came out on Monday that 3 players and 5 personnel had COVID. Sounds like they were all asymptomatic, so didn't get any symptoms really, or, you didn't know for sure. But I guess there were some guys puking on the sideline in the game, so they were being cautious. And I believe it's now, is it 4 players that have it? And then 5 personnel? I can look that up real quick. But, what are you guys' thoughts on that?
They said like 4 more got it since like yesterday. That's why they canceled it this week, I guess. So, I mean, yeah, it's pretty crazy. Hopefully it doesn't, continue that with more teams, going into it. So
that is true.
It's like we were talking before the show. We've heard all these accusations and fines and stuff being levied against teams not following protocols, not wearing masks, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then you kind of get worried when a whole team it pops up, and even though if maybe 4 to 8 to 12 players have it now, or people have it now in that organization, but that's it definitely can spread, and it could be the whole team before you know it.
Definitely. So, and I mean, at least it sounds like it was just in Tennessee, which you obviously don't want it to happen, but by the sounds of it, Minnesota doesn't have anybody with it, so their game with Houston is still happening Sunday. But with more players on Tennessee having it, they're playing it safe. Tennessee and Pittsburgh are going to have a bye week this week. So what looks like is going to be the case is the Steelers and the Titans are going to be moved to week 7, and then the Steelers and Ravens will be moved to week 8. I would assume the Ravens might have a bye week on week 7 because their game was going to be on week 7 with the Steelers. Now not happening. And then the Titans are going to have their bye week this week as well as the Steelers. And then you'll have the games kind of swapped. So, yeah, definitely something the NFL didn't want to happen. You definitely didn't want to see anybody get COVID. It looked like for the first few weeks and in training camp, it was all handled well, but that's not the case anymore. So now we're going to get into our week 4 predictions real quick as I pull that up. So how we're going to do week 4 is we're not going to talk about the Steelers Titans. I was going to save that for the end of the predictions since the game we didn't know if it was going to be on Monday, Tuesday, or even later. So now we're not going to talk about that at all. So we'll start with Thursday. I'll go to Kevin, Steven, and then the next game I'll go to Steven, and we'll just go in a circle kind of like that. So we're going to talk about tonight's game first, and that is a game that is probably going to suck. It's probably going to be terrible, or it might be the best game of the year, because both these teams are kind of evenly matched for different reasons. One, with Denver having as many injuries as they have, although that quarterback that they have in, is it Brett Rypien? Is that his name? I guess he looked good when he came in and played. He was 7 for 8, had 1 pick, no touchdowns. But still, that was against a Buccaneers defense, which is really good and I think is quite underrated. I think they're a top 4, top 3 defense in the league. They really are good. They really came alive towards the end of last year and seem to be continuing that this year over the last couple weeks. So the Broncos definitely are dealing with their injuries, not having their star quarterback, not having their star receiver, star defensive players. And then they're playing the Jets, and the Jets stink because they're the Jets. So there's that. So we're going to start with Kevin here. Who do you have in this one between the Jets and the Broncos?
Yeah, man, this is there are very few people that'll get excited about this one, probably located just in Colorado and New Jersey. But yeah, these are literally the 2 worst defensive teams in DVOA. Like you said, Brett Rypien, or however you say his last name, he didn't do bad. That's their 3rd quarterback, though, they started this year. So that's kind of scary. But the Jets, their coach, Gase, he's on the hot seat as much as Dan Quinn is in Atlanta, if not more. So I don't really. This is a crapshoot, honestly, with Denver missing a lot of people, but I can't bet on the Jets, so I'm gonna go with Denver over New York.
Absolutely. I mean, you could potentially see this week after this game, either one of these coaches be fired.
Yeah.
You might see, Denver's coach stay because, he's dealing with all these injuries. But if Adam Gase loses, he's gone. And we do have some breaking news. Thank you, Alec, for bringing this up. Doc Rivers, not in NFL, is going to be going to Philly. He's going to coach the 76ers in the NBA, which kind of makes me think if Billy Donovan wasn't hired by the Bulls, Doc Rivers might be in Chicago. So there's that. That'd be cool. So, yeah, breaking news. Thank you, Alec, for bringing that up. Good coach like that. Philly has a couple guys that need a real good coach, and I think that guy can deliver for sure. Although maybe the Nets should have waited a little bit longer, let Steve Nash go to Philly, and then take Doc Rivers in Brooklyn. But we're going to move to Steve real quick. Who do you have in this game?
Well, I like Denver this one just because, like everyone says, it's the Jets. I think Melvin Gordon's going to have a big game, running the ball a lot. And, I think Darnold probably throw another 3 interceptions, so, it's always guaranteed pretty much at least 1 turnover for Darnold. So, yeah, Broncos, I think, just going to probably win easily in this one.
Yeah, and I got to go Broncos, too. I have money on this game, so Denver, please don't blow it. I only put a couple bucks on there, but if Denver wins and, Melvin Gordon has
I think the line was only like 1.
Yeah, so I think they were
close.
I think the Jets are considered the favorites in this game because they're the home team.
Yeah.
It's like a point or whatever.
It's New York by a point, yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I got that, and the Jets front office says that he's not on the hot seat, but you lose if they lose bad in this game, especially with the Broncos dealing with these injuries. You would have to think Adam Gase is gone, but they might keep him for the year and then fire him next year and try to get Kansas City's offensive coordinator, which honestly surprised he doesn't have a job yet. But I'm sure he'll have one next year for sure because he's great with the offense. But I think Melvin Gordon's going to have a pretty big game. The over-under for him rushing is like 62. Expect him to get like at least 70 or 80 yards. I think he's going to be able to run on that defensive line the Jets have, which isn't the worst defensive line in the NFL. They have a decent, it's like their best players probably on a defensive line. I think is it Quentin Williams or whatever? younger guy. So I could be wrong on there. Or it's Leonard or Quentin. I don't know. Quentin Williams. I'll go with that. But they have a pretty decent defensive line. Not the greatest. So they might be able to bring pressure on Denver. I think Jerry Jeudy's going to have a pretty big game. Same with Noah Fant. But I think Denver's going to have the lead and just add on as each quarter goes. And Jets might score like 14 because of that defense being injured and just, problems in Denver. But I got Denver winning by at least 2 touchdowns, at least. So there's that. So next we're going to move on to our 1 o'clock games. We're going to talk about Baltimore and Washington. Washington did get beat by Cleveland last week, throwing a few picks. Haskins not looking good in that game at all. And I believe Ron Rivera came out and said that there is an expiration date on him if he doesn't fix it. So his job is definitely on the line. I don't think he would get benched this week because they are playing the Ravens, who are a really good team that came off of a loss against the Chiefs. So they're going to be coming in hot. They want to, they want to prove that they are doing things, or that they can bounce back and play really, really well. And I think it's a big game for Lamar too. I just looked. Lindsey is unlike, or they're not expecting him to play. He's doubtful, so I would honestly just sit him this week. If he was playing, definitely put him in, but he's unlikely to play this week, as reported about 6 minutes ago. So we're gonna go to Steve. Who do you have in Baltimore and Washington?
Well, this is another easy one for me. I got Baltimore big. Washington's team, their defense is actually not bad, but I think some of their D-line just got hurt this round. So I don't know if they're still hurt, if that was just like that game. I know Chase Young got hurt early in the game, so I don't know if he's out.
He's out. He's out for a groin injury this week.
Okay, so that's even worse for Washington. That's one of the key players for the D-line out. So I think that the Ravens just going to run all over them. I don't think Lamar has to throw, but he'll throw for way more than 100 yards, better than last week. So I have Ravens big, big. And like you said, Dwayne Haskins he's just not, I don't know, he's just not good. He eyes his receiver down. He always throws to McLaren, always. That's all he throws to. His eyes him down, that's why there's so many picks he throws, man, Sure. But Baltimore, I think their defense is going to, step up this week because they had a tough time against the Chiefs. So I think it's going to be ugly. So Ravens.
I got Ravens big too. At least 14 points. It could be even more. Chase Young, I thought if he was playing in this game and was mostly healthy, he could bring pressure to Lamar because he's having a really good year, especially for a rookie. But Washington is just not good. I had hope for them, at least on the defensive side, because you bring Ron Rivera in and he's, a defensive guy. He was a former Jacksonville Jaguars coach. I believe he's the defensive coordinator there too. I can't remember his name, but I thought with him and then obviously Ron Rivera, that defense is going to be a little more nasty. They're going to play a little more rough. And I was pretty happy with that. But I don't think they're going to bench him in this game. But if Haskins plays awful, you might see Kyle Allen come in. I wish it was Alex Smith because I think he's clearly the best quarterback on that team. But they're not playing him. It's unfortunate. Hopefully a team that needs a quarterback will trade for Alex Smith because I want to see him get on the field again. He deserves it. He had that horrible injury. I would like to see him at least play a little bit so that's not the last time he got to be on a football field and actually play. But I just think Baltimore is upset that they lost. I think they want to prove to some of the people that, hey, we're still one of the best teams in the AFC or in NFL in general. So I expect a big win for Baltimore. I expect Lamar to play lights out and Mark Andrews to have a much better game than he did last week, which made me upset because of Mark Andrews. And Kelsey not getting a touchdown, I lost out on $12,000. So thank you guys so much for making me lose out on that money. Even though I did get the money back for that game. So thank you, FanDuel. Now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, this one's pretty easy. Lamar he's pissed off. He's gonna come back and have an awesome game. And you got to think Baltimore and Washington are right next to each other, so it's kind of like a rivalry, if you will, if there are any in the NFL. So this one, whether or not Baltimore can pick on Haskins and make him, even more rattled, they've laid them 13 points this week in Vegas, which is the largest spread all year. So this is an easy pick, Baltimore over Washington.
Absolutely. I definitely agree with that. So now we're going to move on to the Chargers and Buccaneers. Not the greatest game for Herbert after playing really well against Kansas City. Ended up losing to Carolina last week. And they're going up against a Tampa Bay team that just seems to figure it out. They've got it figured out. Tom Brady, son of a bitch, you figured it out. Gronk looked like he could play football last week, which is good for them. And then Bucs defense is obviously really good. So I'm gonna go with the Bucs in this game. I just feel like with that defense, and then with just the offense there, I feel like it's just too much for the Chargers. I like the Chargers defense. However, I feel like with a defense like Tampa Bay that the Chargers are going to struggle offensively. They might be able to run pretty well on that team. However, Herbert he's going to struggle with a defense like Tampa Bay going at him. And I do think Tom Brady's going to throw a pick, maybe two in this game, because the Chargers defense is pretty good. So I do expect him to have a turnover or two in this game, but he's going to make it up with the yards and touchdowns. So I got the Buccaneers beating the Chargers in this game. Closer than what most are expecting. I'm thinking 7 to 10 point loss for the Chargers. So now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
I think the Bucs D is just too good right now, along with that offense. And then the Chargers are missing so many people, and that's just killing them right now. But yeah, Tampa Bay looks amazing, and I'm gonna go with them. I think it'll be a little higher than 7 to 10, but yeah, I definitely think Tampa Bay is gonna win.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one?
Well, I think this is going to be a close game. Because what's his name's hurt, right, for Tampa Bay?
Yeah, Tyrod is hurt. Oh, yes. Tampa Bay?
Godwin, right? He's hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Godwin.
Yeah, he's hurt. So
he's he's unlikely or
doubtful.
Yeah, doubtful.
He's doubtful. So I don't think he's going to play. I think he's like a crucial part of that offense right now, too.
True.
With him being out, I think everyone's going to be guarding Mike Evans very closely. So I think it's going to be close. I mean, like you said, Bucs defense is really, really good. So especially with a rookie quarterback playing, Justin Herbert's probably going to be throwing a lot of picks. Probably 2 picks, I think.
Right.
And I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be like 21-17. 24-17. It's going to be a good game. I got the Buccaneers winning this one.
Alrighty. So now we're going to move on to the next game, and that is Seattle going to Miami to take on the Dolphins. Miami had a pretty good win last week. Ryan Fitzpatrick, he has that match going on right now. Played a pretty good game against Buffalo in week 2. Buffalo. And then, played really good against Jacksonville, who looked like they were going to be a threat to a lot of teams. Now Jacksonville doesn't look quite as much of a threat as they did in week 1 and 2. And then Seattle, you have Russell Wilson, who's playing like an MVP. He's playing unbelievable in this game. So this is going to be very interesting. I'm going to go to Kevin on this one. Who do you have in this game?
Yeah, I mean, I've already said what I said about Russell Wilson. He's doing great this year. the Dolphins don't even have as good of a wide receiving core, I don't think, as some of Seattle's previous opponents that they've beaten, Falcons and Cowboys. Miami is they have a bad pass defense, even though Seattle's is also bad. I think it'll kind of cancel out. It could be like a run and gun type game, but I do think the Seahawks pull it off, maybe by 7 to 10 points. Seahawks over Miami.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one?
The same thing as Seahawks, man. Russell Wilson's on a mission this year. Probably they have some of the great receivers in Metcalf and Lockett. And I don't know if Carson's playing or not. Chris Carson, I know he got hurt last week. I don't know if Carlos Hyde's going to be taking, starting this week. But yeah, I think Miami, they're a lot better than I thought they would be this year. Fitzpatrick's doing good like he usually does. He's about average, So I got Seattle though. I think they're just too good this year. Like you said, both defenses is struggling, but Seattle's offense is just too powerful. I think they're gonna pull it out, probably win by 10 points.
Yeah, and Chris Carson did practice on Wednesday. He was limited in practice, so he might play, but they might sit him against Miami.
They might not even need him against Miami.
Sure. Yeah, they might sit him there. I got Seattle in this game, but I will say Miami's defense seemed to kind of start to come alive and become what I thought they were going to be, and why I actually had them second in my prediction for the AFC East. Because I thought that defense was going to play great. And then I thought the offense was going to play pretty good too, because, Fitzpatrick's not a terrible quarterback. I feel like, with a defense like Miami, or at least I thought they were going to have, and then, he has Parker on there. He does have guys to throw to, and the run game is pretty good too. I thought Miami was going to be a sleeper and could potentially, finish second in that division. But Miami didn't look good week 1, week 2. Finally came alive. Might have been because of Jacksonville finally becoming what I thought they were going to be, which is garbage. But, that's neither here nor there. So I do think Miami's defense is going to play pretty well in this game. But I just feel like Seattle is too much. I feel like they're too good. I think Russell Wilson's going to have another great game this week. I think their defense is going to be a little too much for Miami's offense to stop. So I think a close game, but I do have Seattle beating Miami in this game for sure. So now we're going to move on to our next game, and that is Minnesota traveling to Houston to take on the Texans. Both are 0-3. Minnesota outside of week 2 has been able to put up points, but they put up over 30 points for sure in week 1 and week 2 or week 3. Houston has played a gauntlet of just powerhouse teams, opening up against Kansas City, then playing against Baltimore, and then playing against Pittsburgh. So not the easiest game for sure, or not the easiest amount of games for Houston for sure. So I'm going to go to Steve first. Between Houston and Minnesota, who do you have?
Yeah, like you were saying, man, that Texans schedule so far is brutal, man.
Yeah.
And I think the Vikings are going to pull out the win. I like their run game, Dalvin Cook. I think he's going to be running the ball. And I think that offense is starting to click a little bit, with Justin Jefferson coming on last week. He's probably going to start, getting involved more in the offense. And Adam Thielen, he's always a go-to guy. Plus, Houston's it's just, I don't know. It might, like you said, their schedule's tough, but that team is just different. They don't have no receivers really. And their run game's iffy. So, I mean, David Johnson, he's off and on. You can't really count on him. So I got the Vikings, but it's going to be close. Deshaun Watson's always going to give his all every game. So it's going to be a close game, but I got the Vikings by a field goal.
Okay. So these teams are pretty similar, I think, in the sense that they both lost their star receiver in the offseason. Both were trades. Both defenses, not the greatest very bad secondary, I think, for both teams. Defensive line for Minnesota is okay. I think Houston has a better defensive line. So for me, it comes down to the quarterback in this game, and I got to give it to Deshaun and the Texans. I think Houston is going to win because Deshaun is going to take advantage of the secondary in Minnesota. It's a very young secondary that just doesn't look great. I think Houston is going to be able to run the ball better than what they have been in the last few weeks. Minnesota's run defense wasn't really great. They allowed Jonathan Taylor to run for over 100 yards, and I believe the Colts had 200 rushing yards in that game combined as a team. They were able to run on Minnesota for sure. Justin Jefferson, hello, welcome to the NFL with a great game by you. And Adam Thielen, was a really good receiver. And then Kyle Rudolph, no slouch. But Houston does have Will Fuller. If he stays healthy, he's really good. I believe they got Brandon Cooks from the Rams, and he's a pretty good receiver. Not great, but pretty good. And Randall Cobb, he'll get you one catch, maybe. He's not,
they all
anywhere
need to stay healthy. They're all injury prone. Every one of those guys are injury prone.
So, if they all get hurt, then Minnesota's going to win this game for sure. Because, who's Deshaun going to throw to? Is he going to throw to, like a Will Fuller, Brandon Cooks, or is he going to throw it to the local Wendy's cashier? You got to really, you got to feel bad for him. But Watson, he'll have those games where he'll pull off some magical moments. They did play really well against Pittsburgh in the first couple quarters, not really in the fourth or second half in general. So I think Houston's defense is going to do enough to where they're going to be able to stop Cousins from, doing his thing. And I'll say something controversial. I don't think Tennessee has the greatest of defenses. I think their defense can be scored on. Look at Jacksonville in week 1. Denver just might not be as good as what we thought they were going to, because they did hold Denver to like 14 points or whatever, but they allowed Jacksonville to get 30 points, and they allowed Minnesota to get 30 points. So I'm going with Houston in this game. So now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, Houston, the opponents that they face are combined 8-1 so far. So they've been through a gauntlet for sure. Cousins looks completely lost without Diggs. I think this one, and not to mention the off the field stuff, hate to keep harping on that, but
true.
I do think it plays a part in, in the day-to-day operations, and, we don't know exactly how they're practicing or anything like that, but I think the Vikings could have some issues there. I definitely think this is where Houston gets their first win. Houston over Minnesota.
I agree. So now we're going to move on to our next game, and that is going to be the Saints going to Detroit to play the Lions. Detroit had a big win last week, and the Saints has dropped 2 in a row. Not looking the greatest, although I will say they looked better offensively last week against a really good Green Bay team, but 1-2, not something I thought was going to happen. So I'm going to go first on this, I believe, because I believe it's my turn, and I'm going with the Saints. I think it's going to be a really good game. I think Stafford's going to play pretty well. However, the Saints do have a good passing defense. They can handle the pass pretty well. So I do think that's going to play a factor into it. I think with the Saints, their offense anyway, I think they're going to be able to do well on that Detroit defense. Detroit's defense, I don't think is as good as Green Bay's defense, which Green Bay's defense is not the greatest in the world. But I do think Detroit's defense isn't quite as good as their defense or Tampa Bay's. They're about on par, I would say, with the Raiders defense. So, plus Detroit did lose what's his face? went to the Eagles, cornerback Darius Slay. They lost him, and their rookie that they drafted, I think he's hurt, or did he play last week?
I don't know. I mean, he's been hurt all year so far, so he's probably
Kuda
Matata,
Yeah. So I mean, if he's out, I think Drew Brees is going to play well. I think Michael Thomas is playing this week. I think he's coming back.
He practiced
so that's
this
big.
Week, so
I think not having Michael Thomas on the Saints offense really did mess with them on the passing game anyway. And Kamara's playing awesome so far. So I have the Saints. I actually think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm thinking maybe like 34-27 for this game. Detroit, I think, is better than what their record suggests. Should be 2-1. But
should have beat those Bears, man. Should have beat those Bears.
They Butterfingers costed them the game for sure. So I have New Orleans on this for sure. So we're gonna go to Kevin now. Who do you have in this one?
This one was kind of, I went back and forth, but finally, I kind of looked at the history, and New Orleans is habitually slow starters. The Lions haven't won back-to-back games since last year, and haven't covered spreads consecutively since last October. So that being said, I think Alvin Kamara is going to do the same thing Aaron Jones did 2 weeks ago, and just eat away at that Detroit defense. So I'm going to go with New Orleans over Detroit.
All righty. So now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one?
Oh, it's a tough one, guys. I'm going to pick the Lions. But, I mean, Kamara's going to do great. He's going to have his way with the Lions defense. The defense is not that great. But I think that it's going to be high scoring. If Michael Thomas plays, which he's on par to play, I don't know if he's going to be – because he's not 100%, so maybe he's going to have a slow start back. You never know. But if he plays and he might have a big, huge game, first game back. But I just think, with Galladay coming back for Matt Stafford to throw to, that's his main receiver, coming back. He did look good. Got to continue that. And keep giving the ball to AP. He got like 20 carries last week for like 80 yards. So just keep giving him the ball. That's one thing the Lions needs is a run game. Stop putting that pressure on Matt Stafford every year. Just at least get like 3 to 4 yards, on first down or something better than, 3rd and 10 and stuff. Make it like 3rd and 5 for them. So if they can continue with that, I think they can pull it out by 3 points. We'll see, always hope.
True. I do like Adrian Peterson too.
Yeah.
I do like him, and he's playing better than I thought he would on the team for sure. So
me too. And he had a huge impact right away too. I was surprised how big of an impact he had on that.
True.
Him starting the first game and getting 20 plus touches a game. It seems like so.
Yeah. Absolutely.
He's probably a good leader off the field as well, I'd say. So
yeah. Oh yeah.
Just from what I've seen of him.
Absolutely. So now we're going to move on to the next game, and we have the Cleveland Brownies going to Dallas to take on the Cowboys, a team I despise so much. So we're going to start with Kevin on this one. Who do you have between the Cowboys and the Browns?
Well, Dallas has really freaked me out this year. They've scored a lot of points, 40 and then 31, so 71 points in 2 weeks. But then again, Cleveland has scored 30 back-to-back for the first time since 2010. So is Cleveland for real? I don't know. But the Cowboys are going to have fans at home, and I think that does make a difference. I do think the Browns are still the Browns. I think they're better Browns. I think they're on their way up. But even with a couple of injuries on Dallas, I think the key players that are hurt over in Cleveland, that's going to hurt them even more. So I'm going Dallas over Cleveland.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one?
I got the Brownies in this one actually. Their offense is clicking the past few weeks. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt's been doing good in that backfield, and I think Odell he's been all right. I mean, he still hasn't shown its full potential, but I think this week, Cowboys defense is not good. So I think he's gonna have a big game this week against that defense. It's gonna be high scoring, man. The Browns have a good D line, but Zeke's going don't do what he does and get 20 plus touches a game. And I like CeeDee Lamb receiving core for the Cowboys, and I think it's gonna be close. I just think that the Browns might get Dak, sack him a few times, maybe like make him do some wild throws and probably pick the ball off late in the game, I think, and get the victory.
Yeah, so Dallas, it seems like every year with Dak, loses games that they should win. Like last year, they lost to the Bears. Should have won, but didn't look great at all. Both defenses aren't good. Well, I would say Cleveland has the better defense. It's average. I'd say Cleveland has an average defense with a really good player in Myles Garrett that I think will cause a lot of issues for most quarterbacks they go up against. Mm-hmm. But Dallas has a bad defense, like bad. Yeah, they scored a lot of points, but they've allowed, I believe, the second most points in the NFL to this point. They've allowed, I believe, 97 points.
I think that's right.
Like 97 to 100 points.
Right after that, yeah.
Like it's crazy. And Cleveland does have a really good offense, and I think Dallas has a good offense too. But I'm going to go the Browns in this game. I feel like with the defense that Dallas has, I feel like Baker is going to take advantage of. He's playing much better now. Yeah, they lost their first game, but that was to the Ravens, who are one of the better teams in the AFC for sure. I think the Ravens are definitely the most difficult team Cleveland has played yet. Dallas is probably their second strongest opponent yet. I can't remember who Cleveland played.
Yeah, they only played Cincinnati and Washington.
Yeah, so I would say Dallas is definitely the second best team they've played, but what's going to hurt Dallas is the defense. I think Baker is going to be able to get the ball down the field. I believe they're going to run on Dallas, and I feel like Myles Garrett is going to get the Dak. It's going to be a high-scoring game because every Dallas game is going to be a high-scoring game this year. Yeah. I just feel like Cleveland is probably the second or third best offense Dallas has played. I would say probably Seattle is the best, and then it's either Atlanta or Cleveland. I would give the edge to Atlanta offensively, just with everybody they got.
We have scored 90 points this year.
Yeah, I mean, I just think Dallas is going to allow a lot of points in that game, and I think Cleveland can score a lot of points. So I have the Brownies winning that game. That is my biggest upset of the week for sure. And it better happen.
Especially if Hunt doesn't play and Denzel Ward, they both didn't practice all week. So
that is true. And this is for you, Kevin, about the Braves.
Oh, thank you.
To the Twins and Indians. So I assume the Braves won, but I could be wrong. Unless you saw my yesterday's game.
Yeah, I was going to say. Probably so.
But I could be mistaken. So next, I guess you can consider this as my underdog pick too. I don't know. It's Jacksonville going to Cincinnati to take on the Bengals. I'm going to go to Steve real quick on this one. I'm getting a call right now. So who are you having in this one?
I got the Bengals. They don't get their first win, hopefully. I mean, I like Joe Burrow. Joe Burrow is pretty good. And I don't know. Minshew did good first couple weeks, but like against Miami, he didn't really do that good. I mean, he didn't throw no picks or nothing, but that Jags team didn't do anything against Miami. So I think if they get the run game more involved in Cincinnati, that O-line is not good. Burrow gets hit like every time. It seems like, especially like I was watching the game last week against the Eagles, and he was getting hit after hit after hit. They have to protect him, man, because like he's a good quarterback, and if he gets hurt early this year because of the line, I ain't good for them. But they have to get that run game more involved. I mean, Mixon carries the ball 20 plus times a game. He only getting like 60 yards, 70 yards. So I mean, that line needs to get worked on, because if they get that run game involved and get Burrow more time to throw and not get sacked so many times, I think that'd be good for them in the long run of the season. But the Bengals, I think, can take down the Jags.
Alrighty. And yes, the Braves did win today. So there you go. Braves on to round 2. So there you go. Very, very good team. So I got the Bengals in this as well. I picked Jacksonville last week to win because I thought, hey, Jacksonville's great. I'm never picking Jacksonville again. The Jacksonville Jaguars are dead to me. They're dead. Gardner Minshew didn't play bad, though. He played pretty good. His receivers decided, hey, let's put butter all over our gloves and hands, and let's just drop every pass that's thrown to us. And then Jacksonville's defense is like, oh, hey, let's let Fitzmagic do his shit, because, I don't know, it's Miami's offense, which hasn't played great this year, so we'll let them do their thing. But I do like Joe Burrow a lot. I think Joe Burrow is definitely the best rookie quarterback for sure, and I think he has potential to be one of the best quarterbacks in the NFL. I really like their offense. I think no matter what, all their games are going to be a lot of fun to watch with that offense, high scoring. I love Joe Mixon a lot. And I think they're going to take advantage of Jacksonville's defense. I think Gardner Minshew's a good quarterback. It's just he's throwing passes that are getting dropped. I think he would be better on a different team. So I really do hope Jacksonville gets to a point where they can either get Lawrence or Justin Field, so they can send Gardner Minshew somewhere else, and Gardner can play on a better team because he has the talent, I think.
Well, wasn't DJ Chark hurt last week too?
He's back. Yes, he's back this week.
Yeah, he's back. He's back this week. So he's a big asset for that offense too. So.
Yep.
But I mean, just looking at that game, or just looking at this game or whatever, I mean, he's the only guy that Minshew really has that he can rely on. He doesn't have many weapons, and that's because Jacksonville seems to want to, completely rebuild, even though they have a quarterback that's only played a year. So I mean,
they want to be rebuild every year.
True. I mean, maybe Jacksonville is trying to lose so they can add to their offensive line, or maybe they trade that first pick and, maybe Jacksonville gets a couple of really good receivers, because there is a guy from LSU. I forget his first name. His last name is Chase. He is going to be available in the draft. Hey, Bruce, how you doing?
Bruce.
But I do have the Bengals winning this game. I think Joe Burrow's going to finally get his first win. A tie was close, so he technically didn't lose 3 in a row. So he didn't lose technically. He's probably upset about the tie because nobody wants to finish with a tie. So I do think Burrow's going to take advantage of this defense. He has AJ Green. He does have Boyd, Tyler Boyd, I believe his first name's Tyler. Yeah, he does have the guys to throw to, so I have the Bengals winning. So now we're going to go to Alan. Now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
You call me Alan. No. All right. So this is another one that was kind of a toss-up. I had to dig deep and just kind of go with my gut. But in essence, Jacksonville, even though their defense is bad, they are still top 10 against the run. Which I think could put Burrow into bad situations. And since he's been sacked 14 times already this year, their line sucks. So I think if that becomes an issue, then I think Jacksonville could take over. I think Jacksonville coming off of a long rest, and I think Minshew having a bad game, the worst performance of his career. I think he's going to bounce back with Chark back. So I'm going with Jacksonville over Cincinnati.
That running back is doing really good too. What's his name? Robinson.
Yeah,
he's doing excellent this year.
Yeah, I mean, because I think he's a rookie this year, and he was undrafted, and they picked him up, and he's been doing a lot better than I thought he was doing, and
killing it.
Like, I mean, I guess you can watch out for him. I mean, he's doing really good things for sure. So now we're gonna move on to our next game, and it is my Indianapolis Colts going to Chicago to take on the Bears. So I'm going first. The Bears are 3-0. Colts are 2-1. Colts lose to Jacksonville. Speaking of Jacksonville, their first game. I truly believe Marlon Mack getting hurt really screwed with the game plan for Indy and whatnot, and I think really kind of threw him off. Plus, they made some mistakes and whatnot in that game, some coaching decisions on like 4th and 1. Probably should have kicked the field goal, but whatever. They're going up against a Bears team that, quite honestly, should be 1-2. I'll give them the Giants win, even though
Barkley, Lions, man. Those Lions.
I mean, Barkley was hurt, but I mean the pass in the end zone was
the Giants ran out of time.
Giants. I mean, they were close, almost got it, couldn't do it, and Bears should have lost last week, but Nick Foles decided to come out with his big dick and swing around and get the dub. And then
just the Bears.
And then the Bears should have lost to the Lions, but Butterfingers seemed to play a factor in that game.
Just a little bit.
I think Nick Foles is a pretty good quarterback in the postseason, but in the regular season, not so much. I don't know what it's about. I don't know why he's like that, but maybe it was coaching staff. I don't know.
Is he starting this week?
He is starting this week. Mm-hmm. He's going to get the start over Trubisky, which don't know how to feel about that because I don't think they're great quarterbacks. So I'm not really worried either way. I got Indy in this game. I feel like a lot of people are high on Nick Foles, because he won a Super Bowl in Philly, but he won a Super Bowl with Frank Reich. And Frank Reich is the head coach of the Indianapolis Colts. He knows Nick Foles very well. So I think that's going to play a huge factor in this game, bigger than what a lot of people are thinking. I know Chuck Pagano, he's on the Bears right now for their, he's their defensive coordinator. But to be fair, the Colts offense is completely different than when he was there a few years ago. So I don't think that's going to play as big of a factor. The Colts do have the number 1 ranked defense in the NFL right now, which is mind-boggling. But when you play the Jets and the Vikings, that tends to happen. Phillip Rivers is doing exactly what he needed or what he needs to do. One of those interceptions he threw, which was in the Minnesota game because he only had that one pick, I don't even count because it bounced off of Mo Alley Cox's hands and landed in Minnesota's arms. So I don't really count that. Yeah, he didn't play great in he had 2 interceptions against Jacksonville. However, he did complete like 78% of his passes in that game. Like right now, believe it or not, Phillip Rivers is number 1 in completion percentage. Like he's getting the ball to the receivers, and it could have been even higher because he has like 78. He has a 78%, which is really good regardless of who you play.
Even better than Wilson.
And it could have been higher. It could have been higher because T.Y. Hilton had a touchdown he dropped in that Minnesota game. There was that interception that shouldn't have happened. And there's some, I think there's one more dropped ball. But Phillip Rivers is doing what he needs to do. His numbers don't look the greatest, but they're running the ball, and they're running it very well. Colts have the number 1 offensive line in the NFL for sure. And they haven't even played to their potential. Like, they're not even playing as good as they have last year, and they're still ranked to number 1 as far as offensive lines go. And their defense, even with that loss to Jacksonville and allowing Gardner Minshew to play the game he did, only allowed like 290-something yards in that game, which is quite impressive on the pass and run game. Might have been a little more because Robinson did have a really good game. But the Colts defense looks great. Buckner is playing really good. Colts defense last 2 weeks have a total of 18 points, 2 pick sixes, and 2 safeties. They might have had another pick six against Minnesota. I can't remember. But I'm giving it to Indy. I do like Chicago. I feel like a comeback win like they had is something you got to give them credit for. And Nick Foles is a better quarterback than Trubisky. However, Frank Reich, he knows Nick Foles very well. If Nick Foles or if Jacksonville was willing to trade him to Indy, and if the Bears didn't offer as much, he would be the Colts quarterback. And I feel like even though I don't think he's that great, I feel like he would have done better in Indy with the offensive line and Frank Reich being there. With the running game, though, and the Bears defense not being as good as it has been in years past, I'm giving it to the Colts. I'll go about around 7 points. I think it's going to be a really good game and potentially game of the week because these are two talented teams. I just think the Colts are a little better. So now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, I mean, you covered a lot of what I was going to say. I mean, you did say Indy, the top defensive team. Chicago does rank 17 in that category. So, even though they are, they have the record they have, like you said, I think they could easily be 0-3. And that kind of winning model is about as sustainable as a house of cards. So the Colts have been really balanced. Minus the slip up in Jacksonville, but I trust Phillip Rivers enough. I don't know if this dawn of the Nick Foles era is as built up as it needs to be, or I mean, if it's too built up, I think it's still a bit too built up. But yeah, I think I definitely think the Colts are going to win. Maybe I think it'll be close. I think Colts win by 3 in Chicago.
Okay. And I will point out Trey Burton is playing this week because he's been out for the first few weeks. And if training camp says anything, Mo Alley Cox has been looking really good in the last few games, proving that he could be a number 1 receiver or a tight end. Trey Burton had the best offseason with training camp. Like, he's looked better than anybody else on that team. And he's coming in, and he was on the Bears last year. So I think it's going to help. And I do plan on swaying you the other way, Bruce. If you want an overall record to be better, you would go with me and pick the Colts because the Bears are going down. So now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one?
Well, I mean, you guys covered most of it. The Colts, their defense is actually, I think, really good. Surprisingly, I'm like, man, Colts defense is really good. The Vikings actually does have the okay offense, and the Colts just shut them down. I thought that Dalvin Cook was going to be able to run all over them, but no, he did not. Got shut down. So I got the Colts in this one. I think the Colts is going to run the ball a lot. The Bears, they've been averaging a lot. People have been running all over the Bears this year. So I think the Colts are just going to be giving the ball to JT and then just throw it when they need to. Phillip Rivers is having a decent year, but but they don't really need to throw the ball if you can run the ball over teams. So I have the Colts in this one. It's going to be, I think, it's going to be low scoring, probably like 20-17. But I think Nick Foles is going to be throwing some picks and stuff. It's going to be, I think the Colts is one of those teams to beat, man. They're looking pretty good. Like everyone said, balanced. They have a good defense and their offense is good. If Phillip Rivers just, those turnovers, some of those turnovers, like you said, wasn't his fault, but he has been throwing some picks and stuff. So if he stops doing those turnovers, it can be like a lethal team too.
That's true. And I will say, Dalvin Cook against the Colts had 63 rushing yards.
That's what I'm saying, man. He shut them down.
Yeah, like that's not easy to do. They're doing well. And, Xavier Rhodes, bad year last year. Coming in, he won Defensive Player of the Week for the AFC this past week, which no surprise with 2 picks and 1 pick six. But he's been very efficient too. So that's someone to keep an eye out for sure. Just imagine, Tom Brady wanted to go to Indy. Just imagine if Indy would have said, yeah, Tom Brady, come to Indy instead of Phil Rivers. It could be a different team. It could be 3 now. But like Gronk would be on the team, which I mean that's nobody essentially. He'd be sitting on the bench. But now we're gonna move to the last 1:00 game though, and that is the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Panthers. The Cardinals did lose to the Lions last week. Kyler Murray looked like he could be contained, and that's not a good look for Arizona. You definitely don't want your best quarterback to look like he can be stopped. And then the Panthers, they did beat the Chargers last week. They looked much better than they have the last few weeks. Maybe it's because they played good teams. Maybe they actually are one of the better teams in NFC, because Raiders are looking better than what they have been projected to, and the Bucks are good, real good. So now they beat the Chargers. Now they're playing Arizona. So I'm going to start with Kevin on this one. Who do you have between the Cardinals and the Panthers?
Yeah, let's see. So Carolina's pass defense is worse than Detroit's. And in saying that, I think that Kyler Murray is going to sit back in the pocket and be able to do what he's been doing and not have this same kind of crappy 3-interception performance. And so I don't know that it'll be just because Carolina is also missing Russell Okung, I see. So I'm definitely going to go Arizona here. I don't think it'll be huge, maybe 7 points. Arizona over Carolina.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, like you said earlier, the Cardinals got exposed against the Lions. Mm-hmm. So I think the Panthers are going to put up this win. I like the Panthers' offense, really. I love their receiving core with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson been playing really good. And, I know McCaffrey's hurt, but Mike Davis had a hell of a game last week. So I think that it's just going to continue. Teddy Bridgewater's been playing pretty good with that offense. And I think they're just going to get pressure on Kyler Murray and make him make mistakes and just take notes, like you said, with what the Lions did on him. So I got the Panthers in this one.
Okay. So some highlights for the Panthers is they have a mascot with the best name, I think, out of any mascots, in Sir Purr. I love it. I think Blue is a better mascot. I love what he and Benny the Bull have done online together. Like, they're doing a bunch of fun little videos and whatnot. But Sir Purr is the best name out there for sure. I love Sir Purr. Great name.
We have Freddie the Falcon. I think that's real lame. That's lame compared to Sir Purr.
I mean, we got Blue, I love Blue. He wins mascot of the year a lot for the whole mascot thing. But Sir Purr, great name. Biggest highlight on the Panthers for sure. Sir Purr. I think the Panthers have been having bad luck because Robbie Anderson did not know Sir Purr's name, which has made Sir Purr upset. So that's not good for them. If you don't know your mascot's name, even with a name as legendary as that,
right.
You're not going to do great. But they did have a good win last week. I like Teddy Bridgewater. I figured it was going to take him a little bit to kind of figure it out. New coach, new system. I love their receiving core, like you said, Steve, with DJ Moore and Robbie Anderson. Really like Robbie Anderson. However, I got the Cardinals in this game. Kyler Murray is going to bounce back, I feel. I think teams will take notes and will take advantage of what they saw against the Lions. However, the Panthers defense, man, they're not going to do it. I don't think they're going to. I think Hopkins is going to play really good. I think Kyler Murray is going to tighten up the interceptions. He might throw one, but I don't think he's going to play like he did last week. Everybody has a bad week once in a while, and that might have been the Cardinals' bad week with Kyler Murray not playing great. So I'm going Cardinals in this game, and I actually got it pretty big. I'm thinking 10, 14 points, somewhere in there.
Wow.
I think they're a lot better, I think, than the Panthers are. They're getting there. They're about a year or two away from getting back to where they're at. And I think Teddy Bridgewater can get them to where they want to go. They just got to add to that team, and I think they're really going to do that in the draft next this upcoming draft for sure. So we're going to move on to our first 4:00 game, and that is the 0-3 Giants going up against the Rams. Rams lost to a very good Buffalo Bills team. Almost came back and won. The Falcons almost got away with the 28-3, blow, the lead being blown. But, the Bills were able to hold on, were able to get one more touchdown and avoid that from happening. And I'll pull this comment up real quick. Steve, don't you got the Cardinals in the Super Bowl?
I do.
So, if you lose to the Panthers, you're not going to the Super Bowl. That is
true that.
Sorry, Sir Purger doesn't have enough power to get the Panthers to Super Bowl this year.
I thought B was working. That's my thing.
Yeah, man, come on.
Get out the comments.
I could shit my ass. No. So the Rams, I think, really good. And I was saying, I thought this was a team that could surprise some people because you got rid of Todd Gurley, who they really relied on early on in the season. Wasn't working out for the Rams. Went back to passing towards the end and seems to be working out for them. I like Jared Goff. He's starting to play towards, where he should for the money he's making. Not quite there because you got to play like an MVP, I believe, to be making like, what was it, like 35-40 million a year, something like that. So he's not quite there, but he is playing pretty well. And the Giants are the Giants. They don't have Barkley. That sucks for them. So we're going to go to Steve on this one. Who do you have between the Giants and the Rams?
Yeah, the only question is, who's worse than the Giants or the Jets? Which New York team is worse this year? Because both the New York teams are not good. Yeah, I think this is an easy one. The Rams big. That they've been playing really good. That running the ball and that play action pass to Woods every time, it seems like they give it to Woods every freaking time. Mm-hmm. Cooper Kupp's doing good, and that D line's pretty solid. So they almost came back against the Bills. It seemed like they found a way to rattle Josh Allen last week, and I think that they just don't have their way against Daniel Jones and this team. They're still trying to figure it out themselves. So yeah. easy one.
I also have the Rams in this game. I don't think the Giants are as bad as the Jets, but I think they're the runner-ups for worst team in the league right now. For me, I think Daniel Jones had a really good week 1, but has sucked week 2 and week 3. Barkley plays a factor into that, I believe. So if I am the Giants, I would hope to finish first or second in the draft. Let whoever gets first draft Trevor Lawrence, or if you get first, trade your picks. I think that'd be good for them so they can add to the receiving core, improve the defense a little bit. I do like Logan Ryan. I think he's a good corner. However, the Giants' defense is trash. This team is trash. The Rams, I think, are really good. I think the Rams are going to make a run to make the playoffs. I think they're kind of a sleeper team in the NFC, not in the sense of we're going to win a Super Bowl, but their defense is really good with Aaron Donald and Jalen Ramsey. I think those two on that defense really does help them, and their offense is pretty good too. So I got the Rams. I'm thinking, I don't know, something small like a 21-point win for them. Something like that. So I think it's going to be an absolute blowout. I think they're going to come back and they're going to play with a fire under them, especially after, having almost a comeback against a really good Buffalo Bills team. So now we're going to move on to Kevin, and then we'll go on to the next game. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, this one, cover your kids' eyes on this one. This is going to be ugly. I think the only way you can really keep up with or beat the Rams is to set the tone against their run defense, which is rather weak. Mm-hmm. But that's not something that New York's going to be able to do without Barkley. Daniel Jones is going to eat it on the other side of Aaron Donald's, just going to tear him alive. And I think, Higbee's having a good year in addition to some of the people that Steve brought up. But yeah, this is an easy pick for the Rams to win. and I think it'll be probably, like you said, about 21 points.
Yeah, I mean, hey, Giants, get a good backup quarterback in there. Trade for Joe Flacco because he doesn't have to travel.
Somebody that's not going to die when they get hit 25 times.
Jets have Joe Flacco. Trade for Joe Flacco.
There you go.
Okay, he's not great, but he is much better than a lot of the guys you could have as your backup. Yeah. Don't know why he's sitting behind Sam Darnold. Clearly better, but whatever. Trade because Daniel Jones might get hurt in this game because Aaron Donald against the Cowboys, who had the best offensive line in the league. 3 guys got knocked down by Aaron Donald alone. He's going to kill you. He's going to kill Daniel Jones. He might get hurt for a year. He's going to slaughter him. He fights with knives. He hits knives. Okay? Get a backup quarterback in there because Daniel Jones might get hurt. I hope he doesn't, but he might get hurt. So be prepared, as a great Scar said. So now we're going to move on to 2 games. It's our last 2 games of the 4 o'clock games, and I think they should be our Sunday night and Monday night games. First one is the Bills and the Raiders. Bill Mafia going to Vegas to take on the Raiders. Raiders playing much better than a lot of people thought, except for me. I thought they were going to be good. Credit to me. But Buffalo's defense is awesome. Quite possibly the best defense in the NFL right now. Josh Allen is playing great, played really well, I thought, against the Rams. And then you go up against the Raiders team who's coming off their first loss against the Patriots, which no shame on that, especially when their defense couldn't stop the run, which I thought they were going to be able to and have to worry about the pass, but actually couldn't stop the run and did pretty decent against the pass. So I'm going to go with the Bills on this game. I feel like the Bills are just too much. I think they might win by a couple touchdowns. Josh Allen is playing awesome. He's playing MVP level like. I would still put Rodgers and Russell Wilson ahead of him, but I put him at 3rd. I think he's done really, really well this year. Stephon Diggs is finding his place in this offense and is doing quite well, I think. And the Raiders' passing defense is not great, so I think he's going to take advantage of that and really expose them on that front. And I think they're going to run pretty well, too, in this game. And I think they have the defense to stop Derek Carr and Josh Jacobs. I think they're going to stop him. So I got Bills in this game, probably 7 to 14 points, somewhere in that ballpark. I just feel like they're just too much. So now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
I think this one's going to be a lot closer than you're letting on. The Bills, yes, they are 3-0, but their last 2 wins, only 3 points each. And then beating the Jets is not that great in week 1 by 10 points. So I don't really know if I want to believe in the Bills, but then again, like I said, Allen's great. Man, this is a tough one. I really wish I didn't even have. Can I pick a tie on this one?
I mean, you can if you want.
I'm just kidding. I'm not going to pick a tie. There's only one a year. So I'm going to go with Las Vegas over the Bills by like 2 or 3 points. I think it'll be really close. I regret even having to pick this, but I mean, Buffalo's missing Deion Dawkins and Josh Brown, so maybe that'll play into it. I don't know.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one?
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one. I like the Bills, though. I don't even think I can name a receiver for the Raiders that's not, hurt. So, sure. I mean, maybe Hunter Winfrey, that's pretty much it. That's all I know. And, I mean, I like Josh Jacobs, but that defense for Buffalo is just really good. And I think Devin Singletary is going to be able to run all over the Raiders. And Josh Allen's killing it. So I have the Bills in this one probably by 10 points.
Okay. So now we're going to move on to the other game that I think should be a night game. You can put it on Sunday night, Monday night, whatever. This should be a night game, though, and I'm surprised it isn't. It is the New England Patriots traveling to Kansas City, not in Kansas, but Missouri, to take on the Kansas City Chiefs. They're coming off of a very impressive win against Baltimore, kind of putting a smack on them. And then you got the Patriots, who had a pretty big win against the Raiders. They looked good against Miami and, played in a really great game against Seattle. Could have been game of the year, or still could be game of the year. Really good game. Literally came down to the final play. So I'm going to go to Steve on this one. No, Kevin. I'm going to go to Kevin on this one because I went first on the last one. And what do you think? Who's going to pull this one out?
I think that the Chiefs, they're on a roll, 12 consecutive wins. They beat New England last year in New England by 7 points. So I don't think they're intimidated or anything by just, the Patriots being the Patriots, especially considering they lost a lot of people. But I don't think it'll be an easy win. Belichick, is a good coach. Kansas City's on a short week, but they are still favored by 7. So yeah, I'm going to go with Kansas City over New England.
Okay. So now we're going to go to Steve on this one. Who do you think is going to win?
Oh, I got the Patriots winning this one. Cam Newton's playing great this year, and yes, the Chiefs beat them last year, but this is a different Patriots team. They're playing great. I mean, Cam Newton's playing one of his best years in a while, and that offense is so different than it was last year. He can tell. I think the Patriots is going to squeak it out. I think it's going to be high scoring, just like how the Seahawks game was.
Mm-hmm.
And because I think the Patriots just has. If they get that run game involved more with Sonny Michel, they're not really running the ball a lot. If they get that run game involved more, and the receivers are iffy, they're not really. They're young receivers, so I think they're still trying to find their footing. But I think Cam Newton's going to do Cam Newton things, and I think it's going to be like 38-35. I think both the Chiefs and Patriots just going to do their own thing. I think this game is going to be how I thought the Ravens game last on Monday night was going to be. And I'm hoping it's going to be like that. So I thought the Patriots by 3 points.
Okay. So for me, fun fact, I've never picked the Patriots to win a game. I picked them to lose every week this year. Picked them to lose against Miami because I thought Miami's defense was going to play great. Didn't happen. And the Patriots did win, although it wasn't dominantly. They didn't win like dominant-wise. Then I picked them to lose week 2, and they lost. And then I picked them to lose against the Raiders, and they won. So I have them losing to Kansas City. We got to continue this. I got Kansas City winning this game. I do think New England has played much better than I thought they were going to. I think New England, especially on the offensive end, has done quite well. Cam Newton, I didn't think was going to really do that great. I thought he was actually going to play quite bad because, you're going from a team that didn't really have that great of an offensive line, which was his, kryptonite, you'd say. He goes from a team that didn't have a great offensive line to another team that doesn't have a great offensive line. And I argue New England had last year one of the worst offensive lines in the league. Maybe had something to do with Brady. I don't know. So I do think that their offensive line is playing much better, and I think Cam Newton's playing much better than I thought. Edelman had a really good game last week, but I just think Kansas City is a much better team. I think Patrick Mahomes is another guy I would put in the MVP conversation. He's honestly probably my number 3 right now instead of Josh Allen. Sorry, Josh Allen, you're number 4 now. But
that fast.
Yeah, just like that. But Patrick Mahomes played incredible last week against a defense who I think is better than New England's defense in Baltimore, scoring or getting like 391 yards passing, rushing for like 20-something yards too. Team looking really good, clicked, looks back to what I thought they were going to be after week 1. So I got Kansas City winning this game. And some news I want to bring up real quick. Jamison Crowder, Jets receiver, has been upgraded to active. So he is playing tonight against the Broncos, which does give Sam Darnold somebody to throw to, although that's not going to help. I don't think. So there you go.
I don't know. I might have to change my pick now. I'm just playing.
Yeah, I'm still keeping it. Instead of a 28-point loss, it is now going to be a 21-point loss.
There we go.
But now I'm keeping my pick for sure. But yeah, he's playing. So if you have him on your fantasy, you might want to put him in because he's probably going to be the only guy worth anything this week. So there you go. So now we're going to move on to our Sunday night game, which is the Eagles and the 49ers, a game that should not be a Sunday night game after this, but, you know, what can they do? Potentially could have been a good game, but now might not be great. So I'm going to go to Steve on this one. Who do you have between the Eagles and the 49ers?
Yeah, this is a tough one, man. Both the Niners are playing pretty good. I don't know if Jimmy G still out or is he playing this week?
He did not practice. He did not practice.
Okay. I don't think he's playing.
George Kittle's playing.
Kittle's back.
Be good. So I mean, the Eagles are just not playing good at all this year. You know, Carson Wentz is just not having a good year at all. And yes, the Niners, they've been having a lot of injuries on their run. You know, their running backs have been injured. Defense has been getting injured. But and the quarterback, but Mullen's been playing good. Loves his tight ends. I think George Kittle, his first game back, he's gonna have a big game this week. And yeah, man, I don't know. I thought the Eagles is gonna be a lot better this year. I mean, I still think Miles Sanders is gonna have a big game this week. But yeah, I don't know, man. Carson Wentz, he's just not playing great at all. So I got the Niners in this one.
I got the 49ers too. I would have given it to Philadelphia going into this game with all the injuries 49ers have. If Philadelphia actually looks pretty good, I believe Debo's playing too. I believe he's going to play because I think he practiced or was given like the full, hey, you're ready to go. George Kittle fully practiced, so that's good for the 49ers. And it doesn't look like Jimmy G is going to play. But you never know. It is only Wednesday. That can completely change on Sunday. They could say, hey, he's healthy. He's ready to go. But they might sit him out this week because they are going up against an Eagles team that just is playing worse than I thought they would. It's funny that they could be first if they win this game, depending on what happens this week. I think that's absolutely hilarious that a team with only one win could be first in a division after week 4, but whatever. I really hope the NFL changes the rules to where it's best records making the playoffs and not winner of their division.
Just go by conference. Yeah.
Just get ready because the Eagles shouldn't be in the playoffs. I'm sorry, Jacob, unless they completely change it. Eagles shouldn't make it. Cowboys shouldn't make it. The football team shouldn't make it. And
the football team
Giants shouldn't. And it's hilarious that the football team is technically first in that division because of points allowed.
Yikes.
But I got to go 49ers. George Kittle looks like he's going to play. Debo Samuel, I believe that's his last name, he's going to play. It looks like. I know the 49ers lost Nick Bosa, and I think that's going to hurt them, but not this week because the Eagles, it does not matter who you play. They're going to lose until they play Dallas. I have the 49ers in this game. So we're going to go to Kevin, and then we'll move to our Monday night game, and we'll close it out from there. Who do you have in this one?
Shockingly, I also have the 49ers. I think San Francisco has basically weathered the injury bug that they had.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they do still have some injuries, but for the most part, they're getting people back now. Kittle's back. Jerick McKinnon's back. Holler, Georgia Southern alum. and Ahkello Witherspoon is back. So, them getting people back is only going to help, especially against the Philly team, bottom 10 in DVOA against the pass. Wentz is the lowest rated passer in the league, and then they have a lot of injuries too. Alshon Jeffrey, Sean Jackson, etc. So I really think it'll be a pretty handy win. I'd say probably 10 points or more, 49ers over Eagles.
Alrighty.
I really like that receiver too from the Niners. Brandon, what's his name? Ayuk or something like that.
Yeah.
Rookie.
Oh yeah, he's good.
He did a solid game last week.
Yeah, so. He was a guy I wanted the Colts to get at one point in the draft. I wanted him to get Pittman for sure. And then I thought him, Denzel Mims was another guy I wanted, which speaking of injuries on the Jets, Denzel Mims. There are some really good receivers I wanted. And, it is what it is. We didn't get them.
They're just trying to stay healthy, man. It seems like everyone's getting injured this year, man. It's crazy.
That is true.
It is.
Absolutely. So now we're going to move to our last game, which is our Monday night game, and that is the Atlanta Falcons traveling to Green Bay to take on the Packers. Falcons the last 2 weeks have blown 20-point leads, or at least double-digit leads. And then the Packers have just been looking great. You have Aaron Rodgers playing MVP level. He's happy, which is not good. Like, this man, literally right before he gets sacked, is laughing and smiling. This is psychotic behavior, and it's working to his advantage. So I believe I'm going to start this one, and I'm going to go with the Packers in this game. I just feel like offensively, Green Bay is just, they're a little much. You have Aaron, running back Aaron Jones there. He's killing it right now. I don't think Adams is playing though for Rodgers. I don't think so. So that would help Atlanta if he doesn't play, because he's a really good receiver. But Rodgers is finding his guys. He's found something. It's working out for him. And Atlanta does have a really good offense. Is Julio Jones playing this week, or is he out?
He's playing, but he's not 100%. Unlikely to be 100%.
Okay, so he might not get as many snaps in that game.
And Gage is hurt too, right?
I'd say they put him in as a decoy more than anything, to be honest.
True. That might be the case. But I do have the Packers winning. I just feel like offensively they're a bit much for the Falcons defense to handle. One of the best offenses in the NFL. They're clicking. Something's working for them. I think Aaron Jones is going to have a really good game. I think Rodgers is going to have another really good game. I do think the Falcons will score a good amount of points on Green Bay. However, I don't think it's going to be enough in this one. So I do have Green Bay. And this could be the end of Dan Quinn. If not, they're going to wait till the end of the year, I think. So now we're going to go to Kevin. Who do you have in this one?
Atlanta scored 90 points this year. I mean, they're good on offense. We can say that. But can they win a damn game? That's a whole different question. You can't hang on to the lead. You start to look at who's to blame. It's easy to say fire Dan Quinn, but then you have shitty coaches like Raheem Morris and Dirk Cutter just right behind him, and most of this could be on them just as much as Quinn. So, not having the fans in the stands, the boo birds, if you will, people wearing the bags on their head and all that, I think that'll make a difference in how long they keep him. I think they could keep him maybe through even week 9, which would be week 10 is their bye. So he could keep his job up until then if they're just going to kind of tank the season, because they're going into a pretty, going into an easier set of games. So I think they're going to give him a chance to win. But if they can't win, I think it's pretty much, let's see how good we can get in the draft. But yeah, definitely Aaron Rodgers playing. He's just playing lights out right now. And the Falcons have lost AJ Terrell and Darqueze Dennard. So on defense, so there's no way they're going to be able to hang. I think, like you said, maybe they'll score 21 to 28 points, but I think Green Bay puts up like 35 or 38. So Green Bay over Atlanta.
Okay. Now we're going to go to Steve. Who do you have in this one?
Oh, man. I don't know. It's a tough one. The thing is, when the Falcons hold a lead, because they blew both those leads last few weeks. But I love Atlanta's offense. They have probably one of the best offenses in the league, in my opinion, if they can show it.
Yeah.
But Green Bay's playing great, man. They're playing terrific, like you said. Aaron Rodgers playing fantastic this year. But I got the Falcons in this one. I think this is the first time the Falcons are going to be up and hold the lead. Hopefully, still should have beat the freaking Cowboys, man. All you had to do was jump on the ball, man. Just jump on the ball. That's all you had to do. But no, I got the Falcons in this one. I think Matt Ryan's going to throw all over those Packers defense. I really do. And hopefully Julio, if he plays, hopefully he's healthy enough to play, like, not just, just say he's playing, so we got to cover him. Hopefully he's actually playing to his potential. Because if not, it's going to be even harder for that Falcons to move the ball. But if he plays, I have Atlanta winning this one.
All righty.
Give the ball to Gurley more, man. They got to run the ball more too. Give the ball to Todd Gurley.
Yes, that would help my fantasy for sure. Definitely would. So there we have it. That is all the games. Obviously, we didn't talk about Titans and Steelers and giving our predictions because that's not going to be for another few weeks. So we'll just wait until week 7 to give our predictions on that, or week 8, whatever it ends up being. But yeah, there we go. And I think that's going to do it for today. There's no other breaking news that happened to discuss. Last thing that really came out was Crowder is going to be active tonight against the Broncos. Don't think he's going to play as much as what others would want, but he is playing, so there's that. But yeah, we're going to close it out real quick. We're going to go to Kevin first. Where can the people find you?
You can mostly find me on TMG Trivia. I am the head of the TM Geek division, which is our inner geekdom division. We're starting our end of the year championship tournament to crown the first ever champion. So if you'd like to be on the Geek roster, if you'd like to get involved anyway, I'd love to help. So contact me through Facebook, and go Braves.
Absolutely. So now we're going to go to Steve. Where can the people find you at?
Oh, well, mine's simple, just pretty much here. Me and my brother also do a podcast called That's BS Podcast. Just talk about a bunch of BS stuff. And yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Absolutely. And then you can find me here on this channel doing the show on After Dark, sometimes on Movie Mania, whenever I'm feeling up to it and if I'm feeling good. You can always find me there. And if the Colts lose, you can find me at my local bar crying, talking about how it's the end of the world, eating ice cream. Because, hey, local bar has some delicious ice cream. I'm not going to tell you where because it's actually quite close to where I live. And if I tell you, you'll know where I live essentially. And I can't have that happen. Yeah, please don't be like that one guy that went to Boogie 2988's house because he might have a gun pulled on you if you go to a YouTuber and have a warning shot fired on you. So thank you all for tuning in live tonight. I've been Matt. That's been Steve. That's been Kevin. And we'll see you next time. Bye-bye.